All right, guys, I'm back with Facebook Live, and had a couple of guys not like the dry air, I guess. They wanted me to put some background music on, and I'm like, I'm not putting no background music on. I'll just run it from the get-go, and you guys can chime in later on. One thing I want to talk about before we get started, it is freaking hot in San Antonio. I think it was 105 the other day when we were hitting. And a lot of these boxes back here, guys, we are moving. I said that in the last video, we're moving, so under construction. Back here in the back, I hope you guys don't mind. We're gonna move to a smaller place. Kids are leaving. Mom is gonna be with us. She's been with us for 11 years, my mom. And we're gonna move into a nicer, smaller, not a nicer, but just getting nicer than this, but a smaller place where, you know, kind of downsizing a little bit. I want to talk, there was something earlier I talked about it, about shaving. I think somebody was talking about this the other day. I think it was Matt McGee when he was talking about the problem with shaving on these senior bats out there. And I know it's huge in the kids ball. I know for a fact it is. And they're bringing that into senior ball because generations are getting older and they're bringing it on over. And they're bringing that with them. They're bringing that bad habit or bad addiction, I should say, with them because it is addicting. There's no way. That's why I look at it as that being addicting, because there's no way they're going to sacrifice losing power, even though when they do get older, you do lose power. You don't have the power you had. So they're not going to go backwards, you know, because a shaved bat will outperform a senior bat, hands down. And I'm not talking about just a little bit, I'm talking about a lot. Doesn't last as long, but it will outperform it. Tell you guys a story, how bad it is. I go to these tournaments. I don't play them around San Antonio. I don't play league in San Antonio. I don't play a lot of tournaments around here. I usually do travel ball. And I was in this little box getting ready to videotape the game because there were some guys on the team that I knew. And I knew this guy that's in question here. And his kids were there with him. He had two, I think they were 13, 14-year-old kids. And they were up there with me just playing with each other. And I'm videotaping the game. I'm in the shade, so it's not bad for me. So I'm kind of kicked back and I'm watching. And the guy in question, his kid was up there with me. And they're not talking to me. They're just talking amongst themselves. And the guy's watching his dad play, and he hits a weak fly ball to right field. And the kid starts going, "Oh, my dad's going to be mad. My dad's going to be mad." And the other kid goes, "Well, before he goes, he just got that bat shaved." That's how nonchalant this shit is. It's just like the kids know about it. The little kids know about it. You know, "What are you doing, Dad?" "Oh, I'm just going to get this bat shaved. I'll be back." You know, so the kids know about it and complaining that his dad's going to be mad because he made an out swinging a shaved bat. I think next time he come up, he hit one in the parking lot. And this is not a very big guy either. Guys, something has to be done. I mean, and there's a lot more being done now than there was years ago, but there's just something that has to be done about it. Or someone's going to get killed. There's going to be a time where, God forbid, you know, wind up on a Sunday or a Friday and hear about somebody getting hit in the head, you know, or somebody standing at third base and gets lit up, or a third baseman gets lit up. You know, there's a lot of injuries happening right now because I see all the posts on Facebook, guys getting hit, you know, takes one in the thigh, takes one in the shin. All because, and I think if you hit somebody on the infield, your bat needs to be taken, and you need to give your bat up. That's just me. And I'm not talking about an easy one hop or something. I'm talking about where the ball looks like it was just smoked, you know, and on the 50, 55, 60, 40-year-old guys are doing it all the time too. And the funny part about it, a lot of guys out there will deny, or preach against it, right? And then they go out and they pick up their shaved bat and they only one using it, they'll pass it down the line. How many times you guys saw that? You know, swing a bat and pass it down the line. All right. I'm, you know, every weekend that I'm doing this, I'm going to start talking about things that I've came across over my 30 plus years doing this, 12, 14 doing this senior softball bat reviews, and it has grown every year. And I want to thank you guys for that. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, guys, jump over and support me in that, because it actually does support the channel. It's under Senior Softball Bat Reviews. On Instagram, it's under Senior Softball Bat Reviews. Twitter, Senior Softball Bat Reviews. So I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook. I have a membership channel under my YouTube channel. If you guys want to join that, it's just an extra added that I don't put out and talk to you guys about. I talk about a bunch of weightlifting, and that's going to start taking off. I also do on that membership channel bat raffles, where I give away to the members a bat a month. It's just my picking. It's either going to be a brand new bat or something that we've already hit that I can kind of good bat. I'm not talking about bats that we put bad reviews on. I won't do that to you guys. I'll put those on Facebook and on Facebook, not on Facebook, but on eBay. And on eBay, I'm getting into having my own Senior Softball Bat Reviews page on eBay. That way I can sell a lot of my product, my hats. A lot of you guys were talking about the shirts that we wear, and you're interested in that. Maybe get some of those and put those on there. That way you can buy them off the channel. And I would have in my garage, in the house we're going to move into, I would have a area where I just rack them and then send them off to you guys. What I was going to talk about was how many of you guys have given up on a bat that you never should have gave up on? Because we did something the other day that, and we do this a lot. That's how come it takes me a long time to do reviews, because we don't give up. That's something that's sent to us, or I want to make sure that we get a lot of swings on a bat before I put out a review on it. Who's that? Don? Yeah. Let's not get to that though. I mean, let's do something about it now. I've seen so much shit happen from guys swinging bats, and one time I was in the stands and I blew up one time. A guy took his line drive off the forehead, and this is in kid's ball, and I knew the kid was shaving his bat, and I started yelling, and it was when I first came back from Colorado, 1999, I think it was. I was still playing ball then. How many of you guys gave up on a bat that you never should have gave up on? And it brings to mind, I have this guy that I know, and he called me up and he goes, man, I'm not getting the same performance that you are on this bat. And I'm like, well, send it to me. I thought I brought it in. Anyway, that's beside the point. I go, well, go ahead and send it to me and let me take a look at it. And I go, what do you want in return? He goes, we have a wig popper, a used one. I said, nobody got a used one, and I'll trade you out that bat, because I think I know what's happening. That bat took a long time to actually break in. And it was the player's model. They only made 190 of them. And I knew they weren't going to make them anymore. So what I did was I traded him the wig popper for that player's model. And he said he put about 50 swings on it and gave up on it. Had 190 mile an hour bat speed. So we got it, and it had aftermarket tape on it. And the tape went, I can't use that one. The tape went all the way up the barrel, all the way up almost right here. So it went that far into it. And it was thick aftermarket tape, kind of like a lizard skin, the thickest lizard skin you can get. But what you guys don't understand is when you add that, like if you bought an end-loaded bat, like this is an end-loaded bat. It's 16.8 and 9.2. Just by looking at the numbers, I can tell you, this is a little bit over a half an ounce end load is what I would call this. Close to 3/4 ounce end load is what I would call it. Well, when you guys add, like this right here is only like 2/10 of an ounce, just with that tape. I always wrap my tapes like this. So when he sent it to us, he had almost like a thick lizard skin all the way up to here. What you guys don't understand is that lizard skin has weight to it. So what you're doing is you're turning that 9.2 into a 9.7, maybe even higher than that, maybe a 10, because I think that's pretty high. So it's almost an ounce that you're weighing on that handle. So basically, you're turning your end-loaded bat into a balanced bat. And then you cry about performance. Whenever you go from an end load to a balance, you lose performance. It's just physics, guys. The mass actually helps collapse the barrel on the end. That's another thing too. Somebody won't answer this question, but how On breaking in a balanced bat, when you break in a balanced bat, it takes a lot of swings to break in a balanced bat, especially if it's a tough barrel, it's a harder barrel. So what you have to do, because you need, that was a balanced bat. What you do is you need end load. Matter of fact, I'll grab that one. What you do is you need an end load. You need an end load for that wall to flex. So you got to have mass here to flex that wall. So a lot of your balance bats you guys are giving up on because you're swinging it, and not breaking it in. Don't give up on it. It just takes more swings to break in a balanced bat. Not this one. Remember, guys, this is a gamer. So this barrel is actually softer on this bat. I'll talk about them in a minute when I get to the bats. There's something that they did, and I want to talk about what they did to their bats. This is not the old Micans. Mican has changed, and I don't know if they've done this with the U-Trip or the ASA, but I'm going to talk about this in a minute on the Micans. This bat is a very good bat. It's number one on my balanced soft barrels in the middle, that tier I have in the middle. It's number one. It's a good bat. It's a very good bat. I am dropping shit all over the place. So what you guys do is when you take that knob cuff, and that lizard skin knob cuff is like 7/10 of an ounce, and you take that lizard skin, it's probably close to an ounce. So you're almost adding 2 ounces to the hands, right? So you're deadening the recoil on the barrel on an end-loaded bat. So your bat's not going to perform the way you would like, or the way I put a review out there. And what I'm doing with this, it'll cover my ass is what I'm doing, because I'm putting out information on what we think about an end-loaded bat. But when you're dummying the bat down, it makes me look bad. And you're not doing it right, in my opinion. Because if you want a balanced bat, go order a balanced bat. But you're actually turning your bat into a balanced bat when you add that to it. So when I weigh this is going to be heavier on the hands. Bat's going to perform, because it's got a good barrel on it, but it would perform better if you actually, takes weight out of the hands, and you collapse that barrel a lot more because you have more mass on you and more of a sledge effect. So you guys are giving up on bats, or calling my bats a dead bat, or my bat is a blim because it's not performing for me. Same thing happened here. And you can see the video, it's coming out this week. You can see the video. I had the bat, it had that lizard skin, aftermarket lizard skin on that barrel, and it went probably up to here. And it was an aftermarket. We hit with it first, it made a dull sound. And a lot of you guys like that. This is another thing too, when I talk about the sound of a bat, that bat is of the sound of the bat the way I wrapped it, not the way you wrap it with all this crap on it right there, right? It's the way I wrapped it. So the sound that I hear, you hear that sound, that's with that one little piece of tape. It's just one wrap, goes up to here. This is just because I hang a finger, right? So I hang a finger, and that helps me torque it a little bit. That's the only thing that's for. And we all love it, that's the way we wrap it like that, but that's only like 2/10 of an ounce, So when that sound, when you have something like this, basically like a tuning fork, and when we hit with this, it doesn't make that sound. So you guys are going, I don't hear that sound, my bat must be a piece of crap. So it's not. If you take this off, this is actually like a dampener when you hit something here, right? Because that sound actually, it will be dampened from that handle weight. The actually rubber little garment on the end too. It won't make that sound if you have that on there. So when you guys are getting these bats, and I'm putting out these reviews, you hear that sound, and then you don't hear that sound because you got all that on the end of the bottom of the bat, and it's dampening, or it's making it heavier on the bottom end. If you took your bat, you would actually pull that off, put one wrap of tape on it, you would actually increase performance on the barrel, because the barrel would actually work for you. And I need to tell you this because I'm doing it that way. I'm doing it the way I get one wrap on it. And if you don't do the same, and I know a lot of you guys love that grip, you love that big grip, but you got to understand that grip's going to add weight to your hands, and you don't want to add weight to your hands when you order an end load. If you're a balanced guy, don't listen to me, because you actually like swinging a balanced bat, right? But a balanced bat will not get the distance as an end-loaded bat. And I don't care who you are, you try to convince me about faster the bat, that's bullshit. You gotta have mass on the end. Collapse that barrel. Barrel work for you when you have mass on the end. So what this guy did is he gave up on the bat, sent it back to me. We started swinging it. The video's gonna be out on Monday. And let's listen to us. We took the wrap off. It made a totally different sound. When we took the wrap off, we got more mass on the end. So the mass actually helped collapse the wall, broke it in. It took about 150 swings to break that bat in. And it's a short porch. That bat usually takes about 150 swings to break in. It's not like a gamer. So yeah, you guys give up on bats too much or too fast because I'm putting the review out. And if you don't do that, it's gonna alter the way it feels. It's gonna alter the performance because you're adding too much weight into the hands. Guys, I've always been a balance point guy and performance. More mass on the end that you can handle with your bat speed. You know, you younger guys talking about, and I've always talked about this, fast bat speed, low bat speed. You gotta have a barrel that, we have low bat speed, you know, you gotta have a barrel that flexes like this one. The barrel flexes tremendously on you guys with that diminishing bat speed. I hate saying older guys because I'm an older guy, but on you guys with that diminishing bat speed. And there is bat out there that actually will cross over from that, you know, up to 75 to 80 mile an hour bat speed. I'll talk about that in a minute though. I haven't found one except for recently that will do that. But usually that's the reason I did the 3 different tiers, you know, the lower bat speed for you women and the older guys, which is less bat speed. And it's going to happen to me, guys, when I get older. There's not enough weights that I can lift. It's going to get, you're not going to stay, like if my bat speed when I was in my 50s is nowhere close to being the bat speed that I'm at 63 right now. And I fight it. The way I fight it is I get into the gym, I take my supplements, I take my TRT, and I get into the gym and I work out to try to beat Father Time from diminishing bat speed. That's the only thing you can do, guys. Other than that, they're just, you know, get up and move your ass. Hit the weights, makes you think better too when you do all that, when you do hit the weights. But I think a lot of you guys are giving up on, because I put the review out and you're actually altering the performance of your bat by changing the weight distribution in your bat. And I think that's a disservice to you guys for one, because you hear me talk about it. And what happened on this story, on this bat, was that bat opened up about 150 swings and we were hitting the ball 400 feet with it. I wasn't hitting the ball 400 feet, but my guys were hitting the ball with 400 feet with that bat. So don't give up. Keep hitting it. Keep hitting it. We hit bats up to 700, 800 swings before we give up on it, or we crack it. And once it cracks, we already know it's going to be a piece of crap. So what we usually do in just recently in a bat, it was a balance bat that had a barrel that was very hard, and then its flex points were a little hard too. Man, his flexing in his hands of this bat were hard too. So what we did, we kept hitting it and waiting for it to open up, and it just never did. So we give that's not going to take so long to get reviews out. A lot of you guys are saying, when the review is going to be out on this? Well, guys, you know, I'm still working on the other bats. There's something I want to talk about in here that nobody, and I'll talk about that close to the end, but nobody wants to talk about. But if you guys hang on, I'm going to talk about rolling. And you don't hear this from a lot of people out there, and I don't know why, because you act like it's taboo, right, to talk about rolling a senior softball bat. I'm not talking about USSSA and ASA. I think all of them guys, USSSA, ASA, should not roll a bat. That's just me. And I don't think there should be a law against you rolling a bat. I think that's bullshit because, you know, I'll get into it, talk about it in a minute. I don't think somebody should tell me I shouldn't roll a senior softball bat or any kind of bat, because I'll tell you in a minute. You know, I'll keep you guys in suspense and waiting on that, because I'll give you guys my thoughts. And you guys, the reason I think you act like it's taboo and I won't talk about it is because over the last, I've been doing this 10 years, playing senior ball at its top level, Major Plus, for 10 years. A lot of you guys come up and say, come here, I want to talk to you. And they'll whisper in my ear, you know, what is your opinion on rolling a senior softball bat? And then I'll tell them my opinion. They say, okay, that's what we thought. But I want to get into that and let everybody know what my opinion is on that. But I'm going to do that later on. I'm going to talk about some other stuff. There's one thing I want to talk about, and on this one is I keep hearing this, whatever feels good in your hands. I did a video about this years ago. I'm not that firm believer on what feels good in your hands. The reason that I'm not is because I believe in muscle memory. So whenever you're swinging a bat, I'm just going to throw this out there. Let's say you're swinging a 2.0 Dudley. The weight distribution in that bat on a 2.0 27-ounce Dudley is 16.8. Hand weight is 9.2. I've swung that bat for a year. It was one of my gamers back in the day, a little over a year. Might have been 2 years playing. Whenever they weren't $500 a piece and $400 a piece. I swung that bat. So my muscle memory was in tune with that bat. Even though I would test bats, it would always go back, and it would take me a few swings, but real fast, right? Within 10 swings, my muscle memory would pick it up, and I would actually hit that bat really good. So what people are saying, when somebody tells you whatever feels good in your hands, it's what you were last swinging. Like if I picked a bat up and I started after that Dudley, right, 2.0, and I started swinging it, and those numbers on that bat were 16.8, 16.9, and 9.2 or 9.1, that bat would feel good in my hands. So they're trying to sell me something off the truck or in the sporting goods store, and they say whatever feels good in your hands. I hear that so many times, and that's bullshit. I think it's bullshit. It's just my opinion. That's actually my opinion. I think it's crap because that's just telling you what you're used to swinging. That muscle memory kicks in and you're swinging like, oh, this does feel good. And it's some other bat manufacturer that's not a Dudley. I'm not talking about Dudleys, but you were swinging a Dudley because they don't make them anymore. So they say whatever feels good in your hands. So you go over there and grab something off the shelf and you go, wow, this is good. Okay, that's $250. Give me money. So you take out and hit with it and it hits like shit. It swings good, but it hits like shit because the barrel is not like the Dudley barrel. The flex is not like the flex in the Dudleys. So it's not bullshit, but because a lot of guys out there talk about it to get you to buy something, but that whatever feels good in your hands, that's on, okay, I'm picking a bat, okay, or get your weights. Like I said this in the past, get your weights, on what you like swinging. Mine is a 16.9, 16.8, 9, 8, 8, 8, and 8, 9, to a 9 on the hands. I can handle that. That's what my muscle memory in my brain has actually picked up, and I get used to swinging that. Now later on, I might have to go down on end weight and bring that down because when your bat speed diminishes, you got to go down in weight or you're going to lose miles per hour, right? So you want to go down in end weight just a little bit. So I'll get on I know what all the bat weights are. From 14 years ago, I know what all the bat weights are. So I'll pick a bat, because I don't make the Dudleys anymore. So I'll pick a bat that maybe lost about, 0.2 of an ounce on the end. My bat speed would be up there again, and I would still get performance, on that barrel if it's a high tier, a top tier barrel. I would still get performance on it. I would just look for those weights. And it would have to, if I'm used to swinging a 12-inch, I'd go to a 12-inch. Not going to go to a 13-inch. So a lot of you guys get hooked up on this whatever fits your swing. And I've seen this so many times. What is the best bat out there? And you get guys replying to whatever fits your swing. That's bullshit. So you can pick up a bat out of Walmart, right? And it has the same weight distribution. That's what you're used to swinging. So you're going to swing it and go, wow, this feels good. But it's a Walmart bat. It's not going to perform. You need the barrel to perform for you too. It's a combination of like 5 or 6 different things. Billy says it's 6, I say it's 5. Talk to Billy about his, but mine is 5 different things. It's a combination of flex, it's a combination, just not what fits your swing. And a barrel flex, handle flex, weight distribution, 2 other things I won't talk about. And Billy won't talk about his because he knows. Don't give it, thing that we don't do is, with me and Billy's, we don't give up too much. We don't want to fix everybody, all you bat manufacturers' problems for you because we know you guys watch this shit. So that whatever feels good in your hands, guys, just, you can listen to it. And I know a lot of you guys are going to argue with me about that, but I'm just, again, guys, this is just my opinion. Everybody has an opinion. This is just mine. And that's what I think. And one thing too, when you see me talking to my guys, like you'll see the behind the scenes, which lately you guys can learn a lot on behind the scenes, but because behind the scenes, what we're doing is, Bubba, if you stay till the end, I've got a story, and you can verify this story, and it's only going to take a few minutes. I'm not going to be on here long tonight. So there's a story. On the end of all these videos, I'm going to do story time. And Bubba was in on this story time that I'm going to tell you. It's about Denver days, Denver, Colorado days. Colorado Springs. I was living in Colorado Springs for 4 years, met some very badass people up there. And I played with, me and Bubba played with ERA. Sean LaRue, too, played with ERA. And they would fly. I was out of Colorado Springs. Bubba was out of San Antonio, and Sean was out of San Antonio. And they would fly them up there. Terry Epstein, ERA. Bunch of great, a lot of those guys on that team are, not a lot, a few of them, are playing, are still playing. Hoppy is still playing. He might be still coaching now. I know he was hurt. But there's a story time I'm going to do about that. I've done all those. There is JBI. I was watching his channel last week, and there's something that he said that I really do agree on about pitching. Guys, you guys don't know this, but I pitched USSSA for 30 years, 30 plus years on some very good teams and very competitive teams. And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you what I've done and shit like that. That's not it. You know, guys don't give a shit about that. And nor do I want to talk about that. But one thing I will tell you, and he said it too, there's some things I agree with him on, but there's some things I don't agree with him on. BP pitching when you're at a tournament. I don't believe that pitchers should pitch BP at tournaments. And this is the reason why. And I never did. I didn't pitch BP when I went to tournaments. And I didn't, and a lot of other top tier pitchers didn't do this. So they didn't pitch BP. And I know a lot of guys will get pissed and try to tell me through the years, hey, you're the pitcher, go pitch. No, I won't do that. What that does to you when you're pitching, it's like pitching BP. You get lackadaisical, right? So when you want to be alert when you're pitching, especially at the top tier, when you're playing at a top tier level, you want to be alert. So, which I think is one of the best pitchers in senior softball right now, and he has been for the last few years, and I faced him, and he actually played on my team, was Chucky. And I talked to Chucky about this, and Chucky says he likes to take like 10 pitches at the beginning and then get out of there and go relax and get focused on the game. Now, I understand that. I'm talking about getting up there and pitching to freaking 15 guys, you know, or even like 3 guys. I don't believe in that, and here's the reason why, because you get lackadaisical. You're watching it, you're not alert. You're watching it off the, you know, and you're kind of turning your head, and you could turn in your head. So when you keep doing that, and you lose, like you're pitching in a game, you could actually lose focus. You know, that's just me. And I've talked to a lot of top tier pitchers back in the day, and they tell me the same thing. No, I don't. Randy Center is the first guy that told me that, and that was Little Billy's days. And I asked him, he goes, no, I don't do any. And he was actually a very good pitcher that got married and retired at a very young age. But I thought he was one of the best pitchers. That is Kenny Schrader out of San Antonio too. He told me that. But Randy Center, I kind of picked his brain a little bit in 1981. I was 21 years old. And I picked his brain, and I would talk to him about it. And they both tell me, no, it's okay to warm up with 5 or 10, but get out of there. Because what happens is you get lackadaisical by pitching to everybody, and it might carry over, not saying it will, it might carry over to a game, and then all of a sudden you're like getting smacked by a ball that you weren't alert on, and up there just pitching underhanded. And these guys are buzzing middle, but you have a screen up, so the screen actually makes you like, okay, don't care if they hit at me. You're not reacting to it, which you should be. So that might carry over to an actual game, and I just never did it. Guys would ask me to even warm up. I would have, nope, not doing it. Oh, you're an asshole. Okay, I'm an asshole then. But then again, I get out there and I pitch good, so what can you say? So, but another thing he was talking about, which I don't agree in, is going off and being by yourself. I'm sorry, JB, I don't believe that. I think you're a team leader if you are a pitcher, and you need to be if you lose, go up there and pick everybody up, or talk about what we did wrong. That's another thing. Pitcher is the one who's in charge, right? Pitcher, he moves the middle, he moves the infield around, he moves the outfield around. A lot of guys, and they should know, I'm pitching this guy inside. Hey, and that's this being as a teammate. You're together, you're talking to each other. You should actually talk to everybody on your team. I'm going to bust this guy inside, the guy that comes up, talk in the dugout, okay? And then they know, okay, you're going to bust him inside, everybody needs to shift over. You're playing a 5-man, hey, I'm going to bust him, you're going to glide this way, I'm going to glide back to the left. So whenever I'm pitching it, he looks at everybody on the infield. I'm not talking about stand behind me. I'm talking about go off to the side because I'm going to throw him inside, right? Why the hell are you going behind me? I'm going to glide this way. You're going to go over here. So he sees that wall up there and he's going to see me, right? Pitching is one of the most important roles when you're playing on a team, a top tier team. No, guys stay in AA, AAA. I think they're trying to get there. I don't think a lot of these guys that travel in your AA and AAA are just bullshitting it out there. I really don't. I think they want to get there. They want to get better. They want to compete, you know. So these are just little tips. You know, I know I'm preaching to not preaching to the mass, the big guys. I'm not major plus. I'm not preaching to you. You guys already know this shit. It's the little guys that want that knowledge, right? AA and AAA guys that are coming up that want to know what to do to get better, and there's nobody out there that's actually talking to them. They're talking, which you don't have to talk to major plus. What can you tell a major plus player right now? He already knows it all, or thinks he knows it all. He's playing major plus. That's the top level. You know, it's the guys who I see that are out there in the tournaments, the 300 or 400 in a tournament. You know, how many you get in a major plus? You know, this is a shame too. You guys talk about major and major plus. We should combine them, but you can't fucking combine them. You're going to have 3 top teams that are kicking everybody's ass. 3 or 4 top teams kicking everybody's ass. Okay, then you got a low tier major plus team or a major team. You think he's going to get in there and get his ass whipping? He's not going to do that. There's got to be something done, but like you guys talk about it, I listen to Leroy and I listen to JBI sometimes talk about it, but Leroy mostly, you know, yes, I believe there's something that's got to be done. Yes, to bump teams up, but a lot of teams will tank just not to get bumped up. A lot of teams will not go to Vegas because they don't want to be number 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, one year it was 7. And get bumped up to major plus. A lot of teams don't want to do that, or AAA and get bumped up to major. But I think there needs to be somebody out there talking to these AA, AAA guys about how to get better, either at pitching, you know, hitting mainly, but actually pitching a lot to these guys and what to do and what not to do. I think going away from the team and not paying attention to them, I don't agree with that. I think you need to be in there in everybody, talking to them. Hey, look, I watched this team. This is what I'm going to do. That's what I would do. I'm going to bust them inside. I'm not throwing about. I want everybody going to oppo. So let's play him the pull. If we can play 5 minutes, play him the pull. Needs to be in there talking to everybody, you know. And there's a problem, and I've said this in the last 10 years. It's a problem if you're beating team 31-30. There's a problem. It ain't with the hitting. So, you know, if you can shut teams down, give you guys a chance, plus in major plus. I'm talking about major plus. Give you guys, because major plus, you know what ends major plus games? You know what a lot of you AA, AAA guys, I'll tell you this. In major plus big tournaments, you know what wins the game? The coin flip wins the game. When you got those top quality teams out there playing, it's the coin flip. That was a text from, we're selling my mom's house, and that was a text from the lady that's actually gonna write up the paperwork on it. We've actually already sold it, which is a good thing. It's a house on the east side of town we've had actually my mom's had it for 50 years now, I guess. But anyway, getting back to that, a lot of the AA and AAA guys, you know, they want to know a lot of things that are going on because they want to get better. You know, why do you think all these clinics, you know, Kim Vandergaard, you got Tanner, Emily, you know, I went and hit the Woodlawn Hitting Club. You know how many people showed up to that? A shit ton of people there hitting. A lot of guys want to get better, man. And I think if we keep doing these podcasts, you know, that we're doing right now, and putting out a little information, because you don't want to do everything in one podcast, right? You want everybody to start coming out and listening to what they have to say, kind of separate it, because you want to get people interested in coming to watch you, right? So when you're talking about things that will improve your batting average, or will improve, because they got all these clinics out there. Look how many people that go to these clinics and will travel 1,000 miles to go to these clinics just to gain knowledge or just to watch people. Softball magazine, senior softball magazine. How many people they got to that going every year? A lot from what I can see. So yeah, the only thing I think that you need to be more involved, I'm not down in JBI. I'm not saying shit about them. I'm just saying you need to be more into your team about what you're going to do, what your game plan is. I played for a team, and Bubba can actually grab Lou. It was the statistician, and he did stats on us. I like a team, and that's what I want to get to. I like a team that's ran like a business. And I talked to Kirby Murphy about this. I like a team that's ran like a business, and you have to produce. If you don't produce, you're gone. And no hard feelings. I played with guys in my life where I freaking hate with a passion, but once we stepped on the team, we were teammates. If he got in a fight, I got in a fight. But off that field, I still didn't like him. But once he was on my team, I backed him 100%. But what I'm saying is, a lot of people out there are striving, that want to get better. And I think if we talk, about, what, lost my train of thought that I'm trying to get back. Talk about what can better them, in their hitting, and what can better them in even their fielding and their pitching. I would talk about pitching because, I was a pretty good pitcher back in the day in U-Trip. ASA is a little hard on me because I got to throw it high and got to hit that 12-foot mark, throw it in the back of the plate, not in the front of the plate, on the back of the plate. So yeah, that would be something that I would actually not, talking to just changing speeds, trying to throw a knuckleball. I wasn't a big knuckleball guy, but I would try to throw a knuckleball. More of a curve guy, flat speeds, changing my speeds on a flat pitch because it's U-Trip, freaking I hated ASA. I freaking hated it. So I can't even think about what I was talking about, but I'll go to something else. A lot of you guys talking about handle tape. How do you get it off? And a lot of you guys were talking about soap and water. No, he's not. I don't think you were talking about that kind of handle tape or cleaning a bat. I think you're talking about the sticky stuff on the short porch bats because the mic can peel off really good. The new Dudleys are horrible. They're freaking horrible. And the only thing I would think of, I try to peel it real because of Dudleys. I try to roll it. My thumbs hurt at the end. And I got all these bats to do, but even mineral spirits, I've tried putting mineral spirits on. I've tried alcohol. I've tried rubbing alcohol. I've tried gas to try to get that adhesive to release on me. The best way I found out, you get a knife and you scrape it all off. You get some mineral spirits on it. You start scraping it, and at the end, you just wipe it off, and that should do it. But a lot of you guys were replying like soap and water. I never knew what soap and water actually. I tried that years ago, and it never worked for me. So, yeah. The one thing, like I was talking about earlier, and I'm gonna try to get back into doing it. And teams, I actually thought about what I was gonna talk about right now. I just remembered it. I like teams, and me and Kirby Murphy talked about this one day. It was somewhere up northeast, was about, I think all teams, I'm not talking about major plus, because a lot of your major plus are ran like a business. You have a sponsor. The big guys usually have a sponsor. So they pick up a guy, if the guy doesn't produce within a couple of 3 tournaments, he's gone, right? Because there is pressure. You've got to produce. There's no friendship up there. You could be cut. If you're not producing, you can be cut, I would bitch and moan, and I'm one of those guys. Ask Charlie Mueller, ask Bubba Blake. I was the guys. What you see right now is not what I was years ago. I was the guy that would, if we had a guy on our team that wasn't producing and I was the pitcher, I would raise hell about it. Not to him, and he knew because this was actually a fully sponsored team for years. Bubba played on it, and we would bitch and moan. I would bitch and moan about guys that we didn't think should be playing at that level. And what the coach would do is he would go around talking to everybody, and if the guy would get one last chance, and that's it, he was gone. I think every team, and I know it's hard, I think every team with a full sponsorship, when you have everybody coming in, everybody's stuff getting paid for, you know, rooms, you know, I know a lot of you got, but at one time Bubba can tell you, the guy furnished everything. Socks, monogrammed socks, 3 pairs of pants, button-down shirts, thick shirts, 3 sets of hats, bats, $300 gloves, fielding gloves, Bubba, remember that? And what he said went. Lou was a great statistician. Lou would go out and he would, back then they didn't have computers, right? So he would go out and he'd scout teams. He would sit there and he would actually look at them playing. And he would write down where they all went to on both sides. These were teams that were in the tournament. So he'd show up early. He would get his all gear ready, and he would go out there and start scouting teams. He would go to field, and he would write on wherever everybody was going to hit. That team ran it like a business. We didn't have to worry about shit. We showed up, and we played ball. If you did not produce, and you 3-4 tournaments into it, he'd get somebody else in your spot. That's the shit that I love. And that's just me. Bubba the same way. You didn't produce, Bubba was your worst freaking nightmare. You didn't produce, I was your worst nightmare. Not vocally that we would talk shit to you, you know. Bubba would get in my face in the dugout and whisper shit in my ear to get me motivated. Hell yes. Yes, he did. That year that we played, Bubba, remember Lou was in the stands doing all the averages of everybody. I was going to tell that story. I'm not going to tell it today, but Bubba. I was going to tell that story about the MVP, Bubba. That bronze MVP that we didn't get. I'll tell that some other time. I'm not going to tell it. This is a different story this afternoon I'm going to talk about. But and then another team I played for too. So there was another team like that. Remember, Bubba, when we came back in town and we were playing with Strike Zone. Strike Zone did the stats, and they would actually, they would do the stats and the same way too. And at the beginning of the year, you set everybody down. We had lunch together. Guys, this is going to be ran like a company. This is going to be ran like a business. You've got to get out. And what the problem you have is with teams now, and I see a few teams. I seen more teams back in the day, but I see a few teams right now. Your ass. And I really do think you should have won it, Bubba, because I was DH and you were playing third the whole tournament. Yes, I really, in my heart, think you should have won that. And it was a nice bronze trophy, too. What about this big old bronze player on it? Oh. And what did he hit? 500, the guy that won it? But since his wife beat him up the night before, he's probably watching too. I shouldn't say that. His wife beat him up and gave him a black eye the night before because we were in Reno. Was it Reno or Vegas? He got the MVP because he played the tournament with one eye. Oh, I'll tell that story later. See, you made me lose my train of thought now. But I think teams should be ran as a business, and everybody, you know, needs to have that fear factor put into them, right? That fear like they're going to get cut. You know, you get on a team that you think you can slide, you don't have to put in the work. You know how many people I've seen at the beginning of the year come in fat? And I'd be so freaking mad because I put in the work, right? I put in the work, get better every year, you know? So I'd show up and I'd see about 4 or 5 guys out of shape, and I'd be mad. And then when you start playing a tournament, you know, and I think game 1 in January, February, because we could play in January here, February, I think game 1, you need to be ready, not 3 or 4 into the tournament. And I would get so mad when guys would, you know, come up and couldn't even hit their weight, you know, or couldn't feel anything because they couldn't bend over. You know, I get so mad. But then again, I'm not talking about AA and AAA. You guys actually have to pay for your shit. I think when you get to that level where you get major and major plus, I think you need to put the friendship to the side. And if even, because a lot of the major teams are actually fronting out of their pocket. I just don't think that you travel and you spend this $1,000, $1,200 to play the lottery. And I'm talking about playing the lottery because he's picking names out of the hat to play a fucking game. I wouldn't waste my time doing it on a major team. Major plus, usually a lot of stuff is paid for. You know, I would do it. I would sit there and I would do it. But when you're playing, you know, AA and AAA, and you're running 14 or 13 guys out there, and you're getting one or two at bats, you know. And I understand. And pool games, I don't give a shit. But when you start that bracket play, if you're playing 11, your 11th man's got to be an 800 or 750 hitter. That's just me. And these are things I'm going to start talking about because I never talked about this shit. I just don't know about bats. There's a lot of other things I do know about. I think, and a lot of people agree with me that if you're going up to that major plus level, you need to run it as a business. It chaps my ass that I show up and when I'm playing that, you know, and there's 13, 14 guys and I get 2 at bats and I'm batting number 4, number 5, you know, and I'm like, oh, I'll just sit out the pool games. Just let me sit out the pool games. I've said that in the past. You know, it saves me. I'm strong, you know, and a lot of you guys still got to play everybody anyway. You know, I know pool games are good for settings, but you got where you set in it, seated in a tournament, but you still got to play everybody anyway. So I'm lingering very long on this because the next thing I'm going to talk about is the bats because I'm running out of time here. But anyway, I think when you got everybody, it's hard for you coaches, and I understand that, because you got 16 guys putting in money, and a guy's not going to put in money to go play, and then he sets the bench because he's one of the low guys on the team, and he doesn't put in the work. You know, I got mad at the coach one year on a team, and I said, it's like we're coming here for vacation. Nobody gives a shit. You know, they're coming up there and they're sightseeing, or they're going to the parking lot and taking shots of Crown. I've seen that. Oh, I got so. Drinking too is another thing too. I don't like playing with a team that drinks because I think it messes up your ability to field and messes up your ability to actually hit. That's just me. Even the next day too, it messes it up. You might be sober, but it still messes you up. But I'm not a drinker. I'm not a drinker. I don't drink. Don't smoke. But yeah, and I prepared. So here's what you're doing to me, and I'm just gonna put me in there. I'm doing all this work. I'm saving all this money to go to these tournaments. And I show up to this tournament, and we're doing the lottery where you're picking out of hats on who's gonna play, you know, because you don't want to piss anybody off. Or you play 14 because you don't want to piss anybody off. I would rather not spend my $1,200 and go. Because basically you're not trying to win the tournament. You're just satisfying everybody. Shit, we went to Worlds. You know, we played in Vegas. And then you got to see them at the casino fucking gambling. My first wife didn't like me when there were, might have contributed to the divorce, but she didn't like me whenever I go to tournaments because I was strictly eating, resting, not going out partying. And she wanted to party. So I'd say, go party. I'm gonna rest. And then I'd, you know, go down and get some food or something. I see guys and I'm drunk in the casino. So that I would be a little upset. So basically they weren't there to win the tournament. And I know a lot of you guys out there like doing that, and I commend you for that. I understand that. But back in the day, I wanted to win a tournament. I didn't want to win a ring. I didn't want to win a patch. You know, I can put on my fucking shirt. No. All my patches and my rings are in the garage in a box with a bunch of other shit in it, you know. You've never seen my shit, right? Never seen me flashing. I don't do that. Half my shit was 1 out of 1. Half of my rings were 1 out of 1 or 2 tournaments either. What's glorifying in that? You go to a fucking tournament, there's one team in it, and they give you a ring for showing up. All right, I'm done with that. And I told you guys I was going to talk about this, and then I'll get to the bats. 10 minutes. Rolling a senior softball bat. Guys, I've done research on this for years. 13 years ago, I did a video on it. And there was some mixed comments on that. I did testing, my bro testing, right? I got 5 bats, I marked them. I brought them out, I had 3 of them rolled, and I had 2 of them actually not rolled. And I marked them, I had my guy swing them. I found out which one cracked. I found out which one outperformed the other one, and I would mark it down. My conclusion came to rolling a senior softball bat does nothing to increase the performance. 0. What I found out it did was add about 100 swings onto the bat that we rolled. So it increased the durability, but not the performance. Actually, the furthest ball that was hit, it was hit by me, and it was hit with a non-rolled bat, and it outdistanced the rolled bat by 5 feet. Now that just could have been because I got a hold of it, the wing was right, and it was just a good ball, or a newer ball, because I basically hit the same balls. Now, that being said, I do not think that it increases the performance. I do think that it increases the durability of the bat. And I do say that your 40, 45, 50-year-old guys do not need to roll a senior softball bat until later on. Now, let me explain that. When your bat speed is under 75 miles an hour, you are not going to break that bat in if you live up north. And I'm not talking about your California guys, I'm not talking about your Texas guys or your Florida guys, right? Because it usually stays where you can hit that bat a lot to break it in, right? But what if I told you that it was a disadvantage to all the other people, the older seniors in the country, where they're not going to break that bat in? I don't give a shit. If your bat speed is 50 miles an hour, it's going to take you about, guys, I'm just telling you, from your weather up north, it's going to take you about a year, maybe even more to break that bat in, to get that bat where it's performing. So you're at a disadvantage when you're playing against California teams, Texas teams, or Florida teams. You go to Florida. Your bat's not even broke in yet. The reason I know this is because these guys that play next to us, Billy was there, Blake was there. These guys that play next to us, and there was this older senior guy, 5'2", 72 years old, was still hitting good. We had one of the old Micans that only takes about 100 swings to break in. He goes, Dave, I bought this bat off Corky. Remember him? Back in the day, he said it was a top tier bat. I said, well, it is. That's a very good bat. It's the white Mican, the 2-piece from a long time ago. And I said, yeah, that is a good bat. And he goes, well, it's not performing for me. I said, you mind if I take some swings with it? I got it in the box. Boom. I turned around, it's not broken in. He goes, Dave, I bought that about a year ago. I said, it's not broken in, bud. And I looked at the balls they were hitting, and I said, a lot of the old seniors, they usually hit they were the old Trump balls. I said, no, bud, this bat's not broken in for you. He goes, well, what do? I said, well, you can give it to me. I'll break it in for you, bring it back to you. So I went on the other field, we hit a little bit, broke it in, brought it back to him. It's a totally different monster, right? He goes, well, what happens next time? I said, get it rolled. Go to Craigslist. Somebody got something on Craigslist. Just get it rolled. Well, no, that's illegal. So man, here's the deal, man. You can't tell if somebody rolls a bat. You cannot tell if somebody rolls a bat. I don't give a shit what they tell you. You cannot tell if somebody rolls a bat, right? And it doesn't increase the performance, but it is illegal. Yes, it is illegal. So what you're doing is you're hurting all of the older guys that are up north that actually have diminishing bat speed, and they buy these top tier bats. Again, I tell you this bat's hot, so you go out and buy it. You're hitting it and hitting it and hitting it, and it's doing nothing for you because your bat speed isn't up there. So what's your next thing to do? You got to take it to some young kid, or you got to find some young kid that you find on a softball field, and you can tell him, hey, can you swing my bat for me? About 150 swings. I'm sure a kid will say yes, 45, 50-year-old guy probably say yes. So he's breaking your bat in for him. For you. But for you, what kind of balls is he hitting? That's another thing too. Is he going to tear your bat up by hitting better balls or stadium balls? Just get it rolled. I'll tell you right now, it does nothing to performance. I've tested it for years, 13 years, and I keep testing it. So no, it's not going to do anything for you. It does break your bat in prematurely, but that is the rule. You can't even, okay, if that is the rule, you can't take your bat and bang it up against your tire. Tournament director sees you and kick you out of the tournament. You can't take it and bang it up against a tree, bang it up against a tree. That's altering it. Just don't do that. Just go get it rolled. I don't care what they say. You can't, and what they're doing is they're putting you at a disadvantage. When you're up north, you can't hit. I talk to you guys all the time. You can't hit. It's snowed in. And your tournament's coming up. I'm going to Florida. What I do? Get it rolled. Get it rolled. You do the heat rolling. Get it rolled. And a lot of these bat guys who do these bat reviews are going to agree with me. They might get out there and say it because it is illegal, guys. And well, let me explain something to you. It is illegal to roll a bat. You can't do it. What those goobers don't understand is go out and test it and see if it outperforms. It does not outperform. It just prematurely breaks your bat in. That's all it does. And they want you to hit it. But what they don't look at is the older guys' bat speeds. They don't even think about that. They're worried about the forward, like they have been for years. I mean, what kind of bats? They just started making bats for the older guys, you know? They just started making these bats. What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. The older guys. And I say older guys, I'm old. I'm just telling the guys with diminishing bat speed. They just started making bats for you guys, right? The old Dudleys are for you. Yes, they're from you. Why do you like those bats? Because they're broke in. You don't want to go out and buy a brand new bat, right? Because it's hard to break those in when you have diminishing bat speed. Heat road, a lot of guys offer it out there. A lot of direct sports, was it direct sports? Kelly Sports used to offer it. Heat rolling. Get it done. Get it done. Ain't nobody going to tell, you know? We go out and blabber about it because a lot of people look at you and go, cheating. It's not cheating. So when I hear you guys talk about rolling and shaving in the same sentence, no. Don't come up to me and tell me that shit because there's not even close to being the same. Not even close to being the same. So that's my 2 cents. Let me talk about bats before I get off of here. I don't want to talk too long. First, Dudley review is done. I'm not going to tell you about it. You have to watch the video. These are the 2 bats, the last 2 bats that I got right here. Basically, these 2 bats, and I'll give you numbers on them. We couldn't tell a difference in the 2. We couldn't tell a difference in distance. We had half of my guys like one of them, the party time, the other half like the knife on. And I think just because one was broken in more than the other one. So listen to the review on what I have to say about them. They were very good bats, but there's something else I got to tell you about them too. ASA, we are still working on this one right here from Suncoast, guys. This is an ASA bat. I do ASA reviews too. And that's a good bat. I've got a Proton coming in on the ASA bat Model 2. That bat review will be out, and we're going to hit it again on Tuesday. We hit it again this next Tuesday and Thursday. I've got Charlie Mueller coming in, is what he said on Tuesday. We're going to hit, and I'll let you guys know more about that whenever I finish up the review on that. I want to pick and choose here. This bat right here, we're still hitting it, guys. This California Bat Company right here. Now they're mimicking this bat. I got confused. I want to clarify something here. They're mimicking this bat on the Adidas Balance bat. So the numbers on this bat is a balanced number, 16.798, right? So I was wrong. This is mimicking the Adidas Balance bat 13-inch barrel, I think it was, because this is it's a 13-inch barrel, I think it is. This bat is going to surprise you guys. That bat's got a great barrel on it. It's not like, I think everybody agreed, it's not like the other California Bat Company's barrel. It's got a really good barrel on it. And that's how come we're going to keep swinging it. Because I don't want to, it's good, it's getting there. Problem is, it's balanced. I got to beg the guys to hit balanced bats for me. And they do. Last round was last week. We just got these in. The last round. The last batch was last week. There's no difference. It's still performing. They haven't changed anything. I want to talk about that one. No, not that one. We just got these in the other day. From Short Porch, hat trick, right here. These guys are going to see a video coming out this next week about these bats called the hat trick from Short Porch. What they are mimicking, and I'll have that bat with me, was the the bomb player model bat. So they're actually made only 190 of those bats, which are very hot. So they're trying to make this bat like that bat. And we'll let you guys know what we think about it next week. But that's what they got this bat. This recently just came out. We just started hitting it and getting it broke in. When I get those bats in, guys, I'll give them to the guys. And how we break them is by hitting spinners. So basically this just new came in. We're hitting spinners off of it, not to do much damage to the barrel. Put about 100 swings of spinners on them. And then I'll let you guys know. And I think they were hitting live with it last week, but nothing to tell you guys anything. You just have to stay tuned. 26 and 27. Weight distribution, you guys want to know on a 27 ounce is 17,493 on the, and I know you guys can't see that because it's backwards and I understand that, you know, just turn your head sideways and you can see it. This is the 26 ounce. It's got a 16.8 and a 8.9. You guys can hear my kid. I'm sorry about that. This bat recently, Monday, came out Tuesday. No, it actually did. It came out on Wednesday, I think. This is the Mike Deal balanced 13.5-inch barrel, 2-piece bat. This bat, everybody fell in. I actually took it away from everybody. It's at my house right now because everybody was looking to swing it the other day and I already did the review on it. So everybody's wanting to see what else this bat has got, and it's got everything that it's got. It's not got no seams on it, nothing. This bat performs. Sweet spot on it is huge. I don't think I said that in the review the other day. Sweet spot on it is huge, guys. Flexes, very good. Takes, like I said about the end-loaded bats, it takes a little bit while to get there. You know, this one, you know, like the Johnny Bailey took about 75, 100. I'll talk about that one in a minute. 75, 100. This one takes about 125. You know, probably 50 swings into it, 75 into it. We started seeing a little difference, but again, it doesn't have that big mass on the end, 16-ounce end load, but it does have the gamer technology on the barrel, and it does get there pretty fast, and you will not be disappointed, guys, in this bat. If you love a balanced bat, and this bat they made #1 on my top soft barrel bats. On my top performing softball bats. Thank you. Senior softball bats on the balanced, less bat speed side. And even in the middle too, because a lot of guys that have that 80, 90 mile an hour bat speed love that bat and they weren't collapsing that wall. Mikan has done something when I'm talking about this bat here too. Guys, we did a 27, this is the 26. And you guys seen the video this morning or yesterday morning. It was yesterday morning, Proton went up this morning on this bat. It was a 16, I went down an ounce, right? I went down to 26. Now look at these numbers. This is on the 26, 16.5 and a 9.2 on the handle. Now the reason I went down in weight, because the other bat, the 27 ounce, if you try to hit them inside pitches, that barrel would flex on you a little bit. So what I did was I wanted to go down in weight to see what the lower weight did for me. And we just hit this the other day. There's no flex. I was right when I went down in weight. We went 27 to 26. So we weren't pushing that 17.1 end load. We're pushing a 16.5 end load, right? So what happens is you take less mass off the end. It won't flex the barrel as much. So we got no flex on this barrel, on this handle, but we only got 75 to 100 swings on this. Probably not even that much. But guys, we didn't flex it once. So going down in weight, if you bat, this is another thing too. If your bat speed's up there, you know, go down an ounce, you're still going to get the performance because these barrels are made very good. Very good. You know, they did something different here that nobody else has done. This bat does not perform like other bats out there. It's the gamer technology. And you would think because of the gamer technology, what we got in the last gamer technologies from last year and the year before, you guys remember the gamer, and I really did like this bat, 12-inch, 2-piece Mikan Ultra. It was red. That had the gamer technology, but the one thing about that bat, what it did when it got over so many swings, it would implode on you. So I actually took that bat and I gave it to somebody, and that bat got a seam in it. What we're getting out of the Mikans from that gamer technology of this year is they're not imploding. It sounds like they're imploding, but they're not. Now, sound doesn't mean anything to us because we've had bats that sound bad or bats that sounded good that didn't do anything. So what we're getting on the new Micans, that I can tell you, the barrel is made out of some carbon that I've never heard about because it flexes, but it still recoils. It might be Kevlar. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm guessing. Nobody told me that shit. I'm just guessing. It might be a small amount of Kevlar was added to it that would actually make it flex. And then it would stay flexing or hold compression for a long time. That Red Ultra 12-inch barrel a year and a half ago or a year ago, it would flex and implode. It would just implode. You couldn't get any, if you squared it up, you wouldn't get any performance on it. Not these Micans. Again, guys, the connection is different. It's more solid. So when you bang it up against something, you didn't get that in the old ones. You throw them on the ground and they sound like shit. Clunking sound. So the connection is different, and they're 34 inches long now. Micans have always had short bats, and I hate to bring this up because I'm reminding everybody, 33 and 3/4 inch bats, and as a 1/4 inch, you guys ain't nothing yet. It's something. It's leverage, especially if us short guys. A lot of you tall guys won't see that shit, but it's short guys that actually feel that shit. You know, it must be nice to be gifted to be over 6'2", right? Me and Clem were talking about that the other day, right, Clem? I think Clem's watching. We were talking about what we wouldn't give to be 6'8". Good bat here. This one's not there yet. We only got like I said, 70, you know, I say 100, but I don't think it's got 100 on it. And because I picked up the 27 ounce and swung it when I was swinging this one Thursday, this ain't there yet. I'll let you guys know more about that next week. Now, a lot of you guys calling me today and asking me about this one. I've got to this has the same technology, 34 inches long. It's got that connection that's solid. It's got that 13.5-inch barrel, I think. Don't kill me on this one, Mike. But I do think it's a 13.5-inch barrel. It's not like last year's Mike Masenko. Barrel softer, like I said, the gamer technology. It makes, I guess because the barrel is so big, it makes a sound that I've never heard before. Like a whooping sound when you hit it, like whoop, you know? And it's that barrel responding to that barrel that's collapsing, and responding to that big old 13.5-inch barrel. Looks good, got that big mass on the end. It's a 26 ounce, it's got 17.2 on the end, 8.5 on the hands. Just turn your head to look at that, because I know you can't see that. So just turn your head. Now, the surprise of the week, guys. And I know I got on these guys, been on these guys' ass for a long time. I've been told, and I put this up in a video this morning. Yeah, I've been told numerous of people calling me saying, you got to get the Proton. What's your deal with Proton? I had one of the reps even say, what's your deal? What's your deal with Proton? And I said, man, I got so much on my plate right now. They're not a priority for me right now. They're just not. I got so much going on this year. Everybody's sending me shit, you know, and then the R&D that we do. It's just, I got a lot on the plate, man. You need to get them. You need to get them. And then I had one guy text me, and this is a credible guy, and I watch a lot of his videos, and I think you should too, is Fat Guy BP. He messaged me, and he said, the only thing he said was, you got to get a Proton. So it lit a fire. I said, oh shit, if he says I got to get a Proton, I'm going to get a Proton. Because a lot of the guys were getting a hold of me were reps, and I won't take a rep's word for anything. It's just, not saying all you guys were bad. I'm just saying the experience that I've had in the last 13 years, I will not. I have a rep right now that promised me bats. And you know, when you see this video, you know who I'm talking about. He'll know who I'm talking to him about, right? And my guys already know. I have a rep right now that 2 weeks ago promised me bats within 3 days, and it's been 2 weeks. But what he wanted to do was he wanted to talk to me, get his name put out there on the podcast to bring up all these people. Whoa, they're coming out with new bats. It's all about publicity, man. And I didn't want to do it. I didn't talk about it because I don't have his bats. When I have your bats, I'll talk about it. So that's the experience that I deal with reps. People out there with these bat companies. And it's a well-known bat company, been around for years. Dave, I got some stuff for you. Got some stuff for you. It's good shit. Then I have people calling me, have you hit their bat? No, I haven't sent it to me. It's been 2 fucking weeks. I haven't sent it. I haven't seen it. So that's what I get a lot. So because they want me to sit here and talk to you, I've got guys watching this. They said they want to talk to you about what's the new shit that's coming out. Oh, it's free publicity for them. I ain't going to do it. Protons. And I'm going to have this one run over because I need to talk about that one with Bubba. Protons. Big surprise. Flex points, spot on. The bats, you guys all day long would text me, what were the bats you were swinging this morning? It was a few, there were a lot of bats out there. 26s and 27s. I'd have to go through and look on what we were swinging. But the majority of them were 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch bats. Haven't cracked any of them yet. It takes a little bit to get them there. I don't think we've got them there yet. And I've got 200, what did I say on the video? I'll use count. I might have got 200 going on 300 swings on one bat. I heard at 300, they're just a different monster. They just take off, right? So we're going to hit them until we crack them. A lot of my guys have already asked for them to put in their bag. That's how good these are. But let's see, you know, you guys know Proton's been hammered on for the last 1.5 years. And finally, I think they got it. I think they ran into some shit last year that was beyond their control. And actually, I think they have a really good bat here. And I wouldn't say that if they were, you know me guys, I'm not gonna say it's good if it's not good. Story time, and I'm gonna do this after every time. Story time, and I'm gonna get back with you. And then I'll let you guys go because I think Leroy and JBI are coming on tonight. But I wanna talk to you guys about something. And Bubba, you might wanna correct me on this, but I think I'm right. In 1998, 97 or 98, Bubba's out of San Antonio, and he calls me up and goes, hey, I'm bringing, because what we were swinging, I was sponsored by Easton back in the day. I was a rep for Easton out of Colorado. Tim Healy was good friends. Tim Healy was a good friend of mine. He was sponsored by Easton, and he was my go-to guy when I talk about Easton, and he'd get me my stuff, and out of California. So Bubba comes up to me and he calls me up and goes, hey, and what we're doing is when we would take bats out and we'd do batting practice at 52-degree weather in Denver, Colorado, getting ready for the year, we'd have our DeMarinis out there, not mine, but all our guys' DeMarinis, the Worth, remember guys, the Worth double wall, the black one, then later on it was the gold one. I think those were double walls. They had all the DeMarini, the ultimate weapon, those were out there. And then I was hitting my single wall, Easton Reflex, red line. I was hitting that one, the gray one, and the red writing on it. And Bubba says, I'm coming up with some bats I want you guys to, you're not gonna break, because we were breaking bats. I was going through bats like it was nothing. The cold weather would destroy us. This is aluminum bat guy. For you young guys, this was aluminum bat day, right? So when you had to put in work, you just couldn't go out and hit these baby composite shit, you know? So we were hitting aluminum bats and breaking them, cracking them. And we'd take them, and the whole trash can at the park we were hitting was just full of aluminum bats. So Bubba comes up, they fly him in. He comes up, somebody picks him up at the airport, he gets a rental car and he drives up to Denver, fly him to Colorado Springs. Drives up to Denver, and then he comes up there and he has these bats. And he throws them on the ground and he says, try to break these. So we look on, what the hell is that? It's a new bat company. You know, Corky has something to do with it. You bet you can't break them. So I said, well, what are they? They're Micans. They're Micans. What the hell's a Mican? And he goes, some bat company out of, you know, down in, I think it was Texas. I don't want to say something, get misspoke here, but San Marcos maybe. Anyway, there's different stories we hear on how that bat was developed. Before it became big and they bought that company out, it was a Mican. And I forget the name of the bat. Velocity E. It was before the Velocity E, right? So he throws them on the ground. He's got like a few of them, maybe 10. He's got them. So we're a good team, one of the best teams out of Colorado back in the day. It was a team that was pretty good too. the, can't think of their name. FRS? FRS, I think it was. Somebody will chime in and talk about that. Well, anyway, we get them out there and we cannot break them. We're trying to break them, but there's zero performance. Zero performance. No, it was before the Freak 98. It was about 4 years before the Freak 98. These were the first Micans. You know, they didn't develop the Freak till later on. So Bubba knows the name of it. If not, Billy Blake knows the name of it. So they're up there and they're not performing. I threw one. I started beating it up against a telephone pole, just banging it. It was before the Velocity, banging it up against a telephone pole, trying to get it loosened up. That fiber, it's a carbon fiber, right? It's the first carbon batter. First, you know, those other ones are ceramic or whatever the hell they were. So we start beating it up, trying to get those to loosen up. It doesn't loosen up. So like, Bubba, I know it lasts, but it's a piece of shit, you know? So he takes it back. You know, he gets a few of them. Well, I get like one or two of them because I want to hit with them still, and I'm up in Colorado, and I need something that's not going to crack. So I put them in my bag, and all of a sudden, Easton finds out about it. So Easton gets a hold of Tim Healy and goes, oh, we hear that Dave has some of those brand new composite bats. So Tim Healy calls me up, and they're not mine, they're Bubba's. So I call up Bubba, and I go, hey, I said, Easton wants those bats that you gave me. And he goes, what? He goes, well, how many do they want? I said, out of my two, they want one. He goes, well, what do they want to give up for him? And I said, the guy says that he'll give you two of the recoils, the red lines. And he goes, done. Give him back. Give me, actually what I did with Bubba, I said he'll trade out one of the ones, Bubba knows about this already. He'll trade out one of the red lines for one of the composite bats. He goes, go ahead and trade them. So I call up the Easton guy. I said, okay, I want two of the red lines, and I'll give you this composite bat. And he goes, done. So I got mine, and then when Bubba came down, I gave him his. So I snaked him right there. But what they did with that bat is they hit it, and they cut it open. So guess what they came out with a few years later? They came out with the Z-Core. And if you actually crack those, and I got them, I didn't think they performed as good as the red line, because what they did was on those Z-Cores, they actually had an aluminum outside, but if you cut them open or cracked them and broke them in half, they had a carbon fiber on the inside. So it wound that inside and run aluminum around the outside of it. So they took the technology because they just couldn't develop a miking bat. So they took that technology and they thought it would be better if you just wounded that carbon on the inside of that Z-Core bat, that new Z-Core bat that came out, and actually make it perform, and they threw them out there. I don't think it performed as good as the red line, but yeah, that's what we did. A lot of these bat companies back in the day would actually steal information, or they'd get bats and cut them open to see how they were loaded, or how they would, how they would have made. And I think earlier than that, when Blake made the Steels bat, because when Billy Blake is the one who did that Steels bat, that bat that made that pong sounding. Yes, HHD, you're right. I think that was it. It was the HHD. But whenever Blake made that pounding sound, that tinging, and those bats from the Steels back in the day, that was Blake's technology that Blake put into that bat, Bill Blake did. And he put dense mass in the end. That's the reason it had that big sleeve, where it would respond, right? So that barrel would respond. You guys remember the way they built bats back in the day, they would just stick a plug in it, a star plug. And depending on if it was a balanced bat, they stuck the plug in further. If it was an end-loaded bat, they'd bring the plug to the end. That plug was about this big. So it actually would absorb energy. There's another story time I can tell you guys later on. So Billy started loading his bats with steels and testing them. So Billy came out with that end plug, it dense mass at the end, and still started mass producing those bats. Well, what somebody did was they stole that technology and started producing. That's how the end load got developed back in the day, over stolen technology from Steels bats. Because before Steels, nobody developed a bat like that. That's just story time. I'm gonna talk about that when I'm running again into hour and 20 minutes, guys. Hey guys, stay safe, be nice to everybody, and I'll see you guys next week. Thanks. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I got a couple more here that I want you to take a look at. And if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button right down here below. And I also have a membership channel. It's that little join button that you have right down here. Click on it, and it actually has a small video in there that explains everything in the membership. Plus, it actually helps support what we do. Thanks, guys.